After what I've been through, I'm convinced that Mother Nature has a twisted sense of humor. And when she wants to, she's really good at covering up her tracks. I realized I sound oddly philosophical and even crazy, but hear my story first, and perhaps you will understand. It has been 2 months, but I still do not understand what happened that day. There were cameras everywhere. I had dash cams and other cameras planted all around my car, but after nature had her fun with me, she deleted all the evidence. Now, I look crazy when I tell people I was attacked by snow people in the middle of a winter blizzard. Don't laugh, I have scars to prove it. But enough beating around the bush, this is my story. I recently moved into a new city, and the only person I knew was my friend Josh. We were childhood buddies, and I was so thrilled to be so close to him. We had known each other for more than 25 years, but we had not seen each other for a long time. When I finally moved in, I had never seen Josh as excited about anything as he was to see me. I was excited to see him too, and we spent hours talking, laughing, and catching up. Over the next couple of days, we bonded even more than we ever had, and it was clear that we were best friends. I even loved my new environment. It was simply divine. It usually takes me days, and even months, to settle down in a new place, but settling here was easy for me. Perhaps Josh made it a lot easier for me, but the moment I moved into my new place, it felt like home. The only disadvantage was that it was an hour drive away from Josh's place. I didn't care much though. I spent most of my time at his place and even stayed over a lot. Now that I think about it, it's pretty ironic that I had no problem sleeping over at Josh's any other time, but the time I really should have. If I had just decided to sleep over that day, I would not have seen what I saw. I would not have been attacked by those creepy creatures, and maybe, just maybe, I would not have this emotional trauma that I keep dealing with. Because of what I was exposed to, I have become a shadow of my former self. I now have a phobia of snow. I don't even know if that is a thing, but if I ever see snow, all of the memories of that day would come flowing back to me. As great as my new home was, when I asked Josh what was so bad about the city, he let me know there was some unpredictable weather. I didn't mind it much. I'll take unpredictable weather to constant insecurity, as was the case in my former neighborhood. On this day, the day that ruined my life forever, it was December and it snowed regularly. It's hard when I realize that there was once a time in my life that I was not afraid of snow. The situation makes me scoff and even laugh sometimes. More than anything, it makes me realize that I am a whole other different person now. That day I was at Josh's as usual, and we had been binge-watching this one show. I can't remember what it is called, but I remember it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it. We had a couple of beers and later some hot soup. It was as cold as hell, and even indoors, it still wasn't that warm. Eventually, I glanced at the clock and realized I had been at his place for nearly 4 hours. I told him that I had to get going and he begged me to stay and spend the night. If only I had listened. Till today, I still do not understand why I was so stubborn and so stuck on leaving. I knew it was so cold outside. I knew some of the roads may be slippery, but somehow, I was still stuck on leaving. Beats me why to this day. Eventually, Josh agreed and let me go. He walked me outside and the cold was searing. I knew he wanted to insist I stayed over some more, but I gave him a face and he dropped it. My only consolation was that my place was not so far from his. Just some minor inconveniences and I'll be good. Every time I think about it, I realize how foolish I had been. Anyways, I started the ignition and in a few moments, I was in my car headed home. I turned on the warmer in my car and it eased my pain some more. I took off my gloves and I tried to feel my palms. As I drove on, I tried to turn on the radio, and I got something about a snowstorm or blizzard headed our way. My eyes widened in shock. I glanced outside. It didn't look like a blizzard would hit us anytime soon. I remembered what Josh had said about unpredictable weather, and I laughed at myself. At this point, I was beginning to realize I shouldn't have left Josh's place. I was driving at 35 miles an hour just in case the roads were too slippery for the tires. I realized I was the only car on the road, but I considered it a good thing. Besides, I was about 20 minutes away from home and everything would be fine. I was so wrong, because less than 10 minutes later, I came across a horrible car crash and there were firemen trying to save the victims. They had blocked the entire road and I had to take another route. Now I was getting worried. I did not know this new route, and going by this route meant I would get home in about 45 minutes. At that point, my phone rang. It was Josh. I was about to pick it up when a large chunk of snow landed on my windshield. It scared the life out of me, and then my nightmare began. Up ahead, I could literally see a storm heading for me. It looked like a tornado of snow, and I could feel myself losing control of my own car. Winds began to beat against my car, and I hit the brakes, turned off the engine, and braced myself. The wind was howling when it got to my car. It pushed it several paces away. I bent forward and covered my head in my hands, screaming and yelling. In my heart, I had prepared for death. But nature was not done with me. Looking back, I wish it was only the blizzard I had to worry about. As I heard the winds whistle and toss the car left and right, I felt a weight on my car, like something or someone had climbed in. I paused and slowly glanced into the rearview mirror and then looked at the back seat. There was no one there. The wind pushed my car a few paces back again, and the next thing I knew, my car was slowly spinning around the road. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get out. I would surely die. So I took my chances. Suddenly, I felt something crawl from the top of the car, and it showed its face on the windshield. I thought it was someone, a fireman who had come to help me, but on a closer look, the person didn't look human. He had the face of a lizard, scaly skin, covered in white like snow, and it squealed at me, almost like it was trying to scare me out of the car. I screamed at the top of my lungs, and that was when the corner of my eyes caught something in the rearview mirror. It was another one of the creatures, and it was sitting in the back seat. I was done taking my chances. I screamed again and ran out of the car, into the harsh, unforgiving blizzard. Nothing prepared me for the cold that pierced my skin, but my adrenaline was all over the place. I tried to run away from the car, but I could not see anything. It was all white everywhere. I could barely breathe, and then I realized I was not alone. I felt something all around me, and when I squinted my eyes, I realized I was surrounded. I was standing in a circle of white creatures. They were all around me, and I felt petrified. I fell to my knees and began to cry. I tried to speak, but the cold winds were too much for me. I could feel my blood drying up, and I could feel myself almost weightless as my knees touched the ground. I was moments away from slipping into unconsciousness when I felt my body being dragged this way and that. At first, I thought it was the winds, but I realized that the creatures were pushing me around. I couldn't feel anything anymore, but I could see them dragging me by my feet and tossing me to each other. I tried to beg, tried to plead with them, but I couldn't. I was too weak, too tired, too cold. I drew in a cold breath and prepared myself for death. I finally shut my eyes to be welcomed by darkness. Apparently, I survived. The reports say I was found passed out beside my car in the middle of the road in the blizzard. Doctors are surprised how I didn't just die. I had to be there for a couple of hours. I have no idea how I survived, and when I frantically explained what happened, They said I was being delirious from the cold and trauma of being stranded. I wouldn't believe me too if I wasn't there, so I have kept it all to myself until today.